Capital Planning Committee meeting to order. First of all, if there's any public comment from the public. Seeing none, any public comment from the board? No. Welcome Matt Allison, who is taking Greg Bittner's place on the committee. Thanks for volunteering, Matt.
Welcome back.
With that, we'll jump right into our meeting with the police chief. Just walk us through what your needs are for the police department in the next. We can keep it to about 5 years out and focus on what's really important to you now.
All right, so old story, but on the patrol cars, I'm asking for the UATV again this year. We're looking to replace duty gear, which we usually replace about every 10 years, for about 10 years now. I'll cover these real quick and then just ask questions if you want. I'll go back and look. I have a copy of the capital plan and the duty gears on it.
Should I sit here?
Yep.
Please excuse me, my mother's doctor's appointment ran over.
So we're looking to replace duty gear. Again, I'm asking for the body armor they asked for last year. That was moved forward this year. And we added a patrol boat to the plan, which wasn't on last year. That's a new request. Let me start at the bottom of the list. Hi. Jim Marino.
Caroline Griffith.
Nice to meet you. Caroline,
Chief Marino. Chief Marino.
let me just start again at the top. This year, in 2019, I'm asking for a couple of patrol cars. UATV, it's a alternating vehicle. I'm going to talk about all this stuff afterwards. Duty gear for the officers, replacement duty gear, body armor, and a patrol boat. So let me start with the boat.
Yeah, that's new one.
Yeah, it's new. We've had boats, and I say boats in plural because there's been a few for probably, I've been there 38, almost 39 years, or 39 years, so it's probably been as long. Always been funded by the Police Relief Association, purchased by the Police Relief Association, to use to enforce boating laws on Lake Whale, Moseley, and Lake Shirley. With the exception of the last boat, which I believe I have a copy of the letter, the Lake Shirley Association donated $800 towards the purchase of a new boat. The new boat is a used boat. We traded in a 1998 boat, or not, I'm sorry, 1992 boat for a 1993 boat. And that was February 10th of 2011. Center console. We paid $4,800 for it. They gave us a $4,000 trade-in, believe it or not, so it cost us $800. The $800 was funded by the Lake Shirley Improvement Association. So $4,000 that came from the Police Relief Association quite a few years ago. And we had a couple boats before that. They're all used boats. They had to be replaced. We kept trading them in, buying new boats. So now we're into a 1993 center console. So the year just speaks for the condition of the boat, 1993. They depend on, the Lake Shirley Association and Shady Point depends on having us out there every weekend during the summer. The police department budget usually funds that, and enforcement. The boat last year, on at least 2 or 3 occasions, didn't make it out because it just doesn't run, because it's basically a piece of junk. In fact, one Sunday afternoon, some resident calls me screaming at me that the police weren't doing their job, when in fact, they were stuck in the middle of the lake with a boat that was there. So we want to replace it. And I think it's time for the town maybe to come up with the funding instead of the Police Relief Association. It's not really the function of the Police Relief Association to do that, although in the bylaws it allows us to buy equipment. But these are huge, these are huge purchases. And we've only been able to afford used boats in not such great condition. So I'm asking the town to buy a boat. We don't want a brand new one, but we want something that's fairly new that we can rely on. We only use it during the summer, so it's not like we have to drive it 24/7 like patrol cars. That's the reason I put that on there this year. Does the present center console boat run? Yeah, it runs. It's a 1993. It's it's not that dependable. When the weather's good during the weekends, it needs to go out. Otherwise, we'll be hearing about it from the residents of the lake now. Lake Shirley, mostly. Sometimes, it's really rare, but sometimes we're on Lake Whale, but again, that's an oddity. So shall I move on, or?
Sure.
The body armor, we asked for that last year. I tried writing a grant unsuccessfully. I didn't receive the funding. I haven't found any, or identified any funding out there to try to, again, take a shot at funding this item. So I'm asking for that gear again.
I think we had some questions about what type of equipment it was last year, but it's really just bulletproof vests, right? Or is it?
No, it's Ryan.
No,
It was Ryan, more of a Ryan here.
It's
In between.
Yeah, well, I mean, it can be used for multiple
Right.
things, riots,
Yeah.
whatever. A big part of that purchase is ballistic helmets, which we don't have.
Right, it was more.
They're called plate vests.
Yeah.
They basically cover your bulletproof vest. Bulletproof vests only stop bullets up to a certain caliber.
Yeah.
So what we do is, typically if we go in a situation where we feel that the vests aren't adequate enough, police will throw in what they call plate vests. Those will stop higher powered ammunition.
Sure.
And this is this is a vest and helmets for every officer?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, ballistic helmets and ballistic shields. Ballistic shields that'll stop bullets.
Is that 14?
What's that?
14?
28.
28?
So.
Police part-timers.
Yeah.
All of them.
That includes some arm and leg shields
Oh, okay.
in that purchase. Again, that's more protection than we're normally used to having. Again, that's a resource that we need to have on hand because you have to be ready for any situation, so it makes the police more effective. Otherwise, we're totally not prepared to deal with any situation, and that's what that's our goal, is to be able to deal with any situation. I heard some pushback last year. I even had a resident call me and say, well, there's no riots in Lunenburg. Why do you riot? It's really not riot. It is
Well, that's
riot.
what-
It can be used for. And I
Right.
use that term,
Right.
because
Right.
it does cover that.
Right.
But primarily, you know, I mean, we have to go through this training to do active shoot, you know, to go into active shooter situations.
Yeah.
Everybody is, not just the Lunenburg Police. Every police department in the world now is. So without the protection, the training is useless. And if any situation like that happens, we're not going to be prepared to respond to it. We have to, in order for the public to view us as effective, we have to be prepared for any situation.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm asking for this. It's kind of like, and I use this analogy, the fire department cannot operate without Scott air packs because they're not going to run into a burning building without breathing apparatus. It's no different. And they seem to have no problem funding that. It's no different. So,
The $20,000 you're asking for FY, is it still 20 grand for the butt hammer?
yeah, well,
It says
it's probably gone up. I just moved it forward.
That's not it, doing it.
That's not,
These line items
Oh,
match
body
last
here,
year.
there it is. Okay.
yeah.
These line items match last year's exactly.
Yeah.
Theoretically,
Except without the four-wheeler.
theoretically, those prices should go up.
Yeah.
You know. Do I keep asking for more money? I mean,
Okay.
you know, should I?
Everybody does.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Well, I do feel that, you know, but, you know...
We need to understand what you need.
I probably should. Well, I'll get into that after we start talking about police cars, but anyway. Yeah, it's probably, it could have, you know, I'm sure the price, everything goes up.
Yeah. But
But four-wheeler, that price is 3 years old, I believe, now. And it's probably more like $20,000, but, you know,
no, it's...
you've always worked around that somehow. You're throwing in free labor and all kinds of things like that to try to make it happen without, you know, again, I'll talk more about that after.
Okay.
You know, these are probably the things that we've got to start getting away from in this town, is, you know, all this stuff everybody's getting used to for free, and then down the road, when you have to pay for it, you're just wondering how we got along as it was, and why it's more expensive, so I'm not doing anybody any favors, but anyways.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people know how much work we do on the vehicles, so
Yeah, I'm sure they have no idea.
Chief Marino does a lot of the work.
Oh, I know.
The cruise.
When he gets the cars,
Yeah,
they
that's,
come in, that's a lot.
I'm not the only one, there's people who do a lot of things they probably shouldn't be doing, but they do it anyway to make us, just to get us by. There's people who work, you know, do firearms repairs and maintenance for free. They don't do it on their own time. A lot of times they come in on days off. There's another guy who does a lot of work for me on, you know, motor vehicles, trying to keep everything running, you know, and so forth. You know, anyways, we'll talk about that after. Sure. Sure, to talk about that. So,
Chief, I think just from the committee's perspective, and when they're going to recommend projects, they'll just want the most accurate figure possible. So if you have any updated information between now and then, forward that on.
okay. Well, as I said, the duty is something that we update every 10 years. I think I have the last, copy of it. Copy of the, FY 09 or 10, 09, I think it was. Boy, I'm in tough shape today because I thought I had all that stuff. No, anyways, it's been like 10 years. Stuff wears out. It gets, just looks deplorable and starts to, you know, get duty belts that fall apart. that's important stuff, and keep those fresh. 10 years is a long time, actually. I've gone through probably 2 myself since then. Oftentimes we have to replace them. The belts actually break and put them on every day, the leather cracks. The holsters, those are really important. They're expensive. They're over $100 a piece. We use, by policy, we're required to use retention holsters, some double thread retention holsters, so that somebody can't just pull your gun out of your holster. Now there's a couple locks on the holster before, that we have to train to get the gun out of the holster. So, the ATV is really a UATV. That's a 2-person vehicle. We've been asking for that for 4 years, I think, maybe 5. We wrote 2 years in a row, we wrote a grant. Actually, one came up. I was going to call the grant administrator and see if anything's changed, but this was through Commonwealth Trails, state conservation. She just emailed me with an invitation to submit another proposal, but she had told this girl, Amanda, that runs the program in Northampton, told me that it didn't really apply to four-wheel or all-terrain vehicles. However, there was some talk about there was more funding this year, and maybe they changed the criteria. I got to call her and ask her, because if that's the case, we need to see if she'll allow me to submit an RFP. But again, conservation was kind of helped me spearhead that whole thing, because they're concerned about conservation lands not being patrolled by the police, or we don't have the ability to patrol. And again, obviously, we can't take police cars into the woods. It's just not a good idea. And we can't leave them on the side of the road and run in the woods. If there's another call and they got to get back to their car, that could take time. The response time goes down. It's just a whole can of worms. So, a UATV, I could probably, if I had calls, I could target the calls by using, say, my traffic enforcement guide. Say, hook onto the trail and drive down or wherever, and go patrol that area for a while and see if you can stop whatever's going on. Usually it's other ATVs ripping up the trails, or there's been homeless people and those kinds of things. And again, people call the police and say, there's a motorcycle in my backyard ripping up my property. What are you going to do about it? What can you do about it? You can't chase them on foot. You can't chase them in a police car. So consequently, what you get is, well, the police aren't doing their job. Really? Why? Because we don't have the equipment? To do our job. So, again, ineffective police department. And again, I say this every year, I don't come in here with a wish list. These are things we need.
I have my notes that you said that you would share it with the fire department. Would you let them do that?
No, I changed my mind.
Did you change mine?
No. One of the things is, medicals, we've had to go in the woods to get people out.
Right.
And, the plan was if we got it, we were going to rig it so that we could get a stretcher on it. And I was just going to park in the trailer up back. If the fire department needed it, all they do is hook on it. That's what they do. It's like water rescue, they hook on the boat. Hightail it to wherever it is. Well, I was going to set it up that way, so it's available. All I have to do is hook on.
Okay.
So, the 2 patrol cars, they're just replacements more or less. I got 2 that'll be worn out by the time, if this is funded. So it's funded, and say it's funded in May. The money's not released till July. We got a lot of the cars. You're talking October, maybe November. Time they're built, that's another 3 months. Cars will be over 100,000 miles, and at that point, I like to take them and keep them spare, so we have 2 lines. I just weeded out a couple cars the other day. I one had a rotted frame. We were going to give it to, control us, but the frame was rotten, so we weren't able to do that. So I stripped that one out last year. And I had another one, 2011, that I had about 160,000. It was completely shot. I stripped that one out too and sent them down the highway garage, so we're probably going to put those out to bid for junk. I plan on getting rid of an Expedition we have that has a bad motor in it. I got a replacement for that last year. That's in the garage now. I'm working on that one now. I have 3 other Crown Vics that are way over, 130-ish, 140,000 miles. We use for spares. Eventually those will have to be cycled out, and I'll put some SUVs in their place. So we always have to have a second line now. There's a couple new faces, so I'm looking at you because you're a new face here.
Yeah, but you'll remember me though.
Oh, yeah.
Lake Association.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And
And now you look
finance.
familiar.
I mean, but only just for a short time.
So you know all about
last
the
year.
boat thing.
I know all about the boat thing, yeah.
Yeah, so we're typically, like, I'll give you an example, the 2008 ice storm, we didn't have a lot. Back then, the town wasn't willing to allow me to keep the junk car. They're not junk, but they work. We take them out of the first line. So the first line, those are the patrol cars we use every day. Second line are just spares. Oftentimes, the part-time people will use the spare cars. It saves me on the newer cars. If they're safe, they work good, they use those. So during the ice storm, we had no extra cars to go around. We had, deployed everybody in the department. We had 24/7. And we're borrowing cars to get around because we just didn't have enough. So after that, the town manager at the time said, why don't you, let's think about keeping some cars because we need them. They're all completely equipped. And typically what happens after, that when the car's worn out, so isn't the police radio becomes a problem, then they start to get unreliable.
Oh, yeah.
The LED lights are only, they're LEDs and strobes, or any of those are rated for 5 years. So we freshen, everything's new, because it's just a waste to try to take all that equipment off and put them on another car. So we just keep the car all together, put it out in the backyard. It doesn't kill us in maintenance because we don't use them 24/7 like some of the other cars. And they're available if we need them. And one of the cars was an unmarked car we used as a training car, so the people that were training at the police academy, instead of paying them mileage, we give them an old car. And if we found, we did crunch the numbers quite a few years ago, it's a lot cheaper to give them a car, pay for the gas, than to pay them by the mileage. Because the training academies can be either, there's one in Boylston, there's one in Reading, there's one in Springfield, Plymouth. Depending on where it is, it's a lot of driving, going back and forth for 6 months. So we found it was cheaper to give them a car. Actually, that was the one I just junked. Had a rotten frame, I didn't realize that when I was sending them back and forth to whatever the last one, Worcester Police Academy. So that one's gone. But that, those are good, so we're making use of them, trying to get the most bang for our buck out of these vehicles. So. The upfitting cost is $0. And that's a challenge there. It's a 300 to 400 hour commitment to put all the equipment into. They're very complicated. I do that on the side. I do it for free. Been doing it for 30 years. A lot of stuff's one-off stuff that I engineer, and I have a fabricator that works for us, a powder coater that works for us. I'm on the advisory board for one of the biggest outfitters in the country. So that was my background before I was a cop. That's what I did, I fixed cars. But it saves the town a ton of money. The problem is when I retire in a couple of years, although I don't know, I might be looking for a hobby. I've got to start thinking about it. The problem with these outfitters, they're in business to make money. So when you're in business to make money, you just cut corners. They have to. It's the only way they make money. So when I do these jobs, they're done correctly. So we're not bringing them back. And when you got to bring a cruiser back every time something's wrong with it, It's not Fitchburg or Leominster, Marlborough, Haverhill, somewhere on the South Shore. I think there's not a lot of them around. So it's a trip down there, or it's on the record down there, going down to this place, or whatever the case may be. We never had to do that for years. I can remember when I first came on, first year I was on, making trips back and forth to Native Ford to get work done. I picked up a car, I'll tell you a story. I picked up a car that was brand new, and they sent me down to Native Ford to pick up a brand new cruiser, and I got in it, and I pushed the buttons to make sure the blue lights were working, and nothing worked. Brand new car, right? So I called them out, and I said, nothing's working. And they said, oh yeah, well, we're going to send you to the shop over in Framingham. So I drove over to this radio shop in Framingham, and the gentleman who owned the shop came out, and he started taking it apart. He says, yeah, that doesn't work. He says, they didn't throw any equipment in it. There's no relays, nothing to run the lights. He says they threw the console together and didn't wire it up, basically. So I sat there for like 8 hours while he pieced it back together just to get it running. And that's when I said, no mas, choose myself. And it was a butcher job, absolute butcher job. And so that, and in addition to that, the same car, I'd bring it back, and radio person's going to install a radio in it. And he's in the process, and he cuts an antenna hole in a white car, leaves all the metal filings all over the roof. And what happens is, as soon as any water hits them, it stains the white paint. So you had little speckles all over the roof of the car in the trunk. And then he comes in and says to me, hey, I need a piece of wire. You got an old extension cord here? I go, what do you mean an extension cord?
He's going
Go to a store and buy some wire. No, I just need an extension cord. And he finds an extension cord, cuts the piece off, uses that to wire a car. Like, are you kidding me? So that ended that. That was like 30 odd years ago, maybe more. So, anyways, not to blather on, but I need 2 cars to replace 2 current cars. It's basically the bottom line.
What year are they in? Just so we know.
2016s. So they'll be 3 years old by the time they're replaced. Like I say, I like the lead. There's a lot of lead time because of the funding versus the actual money versus the delivery of the car and then the outfitting of the cars and the long process. And I think I tried to explain that in my
Yeah, it's in there.
Yeah.
The mileage, And what was the cost of the boat again?
The boat?
Yeah, boat. How much was that going to cost?
Well, we just estimated good used boat would be about 20 grand.
20? Okay.
Well, we're thinking too that we may be able to get a few thousand as a trade-in on this old junk that we have, but because my guys that kind of takes care of the boat for me, he told me probably 22 to 24,000 for the boat. So we're looking to get some trade-in value on the home, hopefully, but I don't know. We'll see. It's got to be better than a 93. 1993 boat. I mean, it's pretty old.
Yeah.
So I realize it's capital planning, but I think I brought this up last year too, is there any kind of collaboration with local police departments like Townsend, Shirley, Lancaster, for the power buying, like everybody get together and buy a group of equipment or vehicles and get a better price on it?
There's none of that.
None of that.
It's all state bid.
Okay.
We shop around, get the lowest we can. But some of the bids are high. That's why I shop around, because you can go down and say you buy a car, you go down to MHQ, and they sell equipment too. And they sell 3 bids now. 2 bids because they lost one. They lost the Plymouth County, so that you got to buy off the Boston, Greater Boston bid, really high, or you can buy off the OSD. That was the lowest this year.
I think the last time you found something in Connecticut was the best.
Virginia.
Virginia
Was always best because they give you the best bid assistance. So I called down to Virginia. She gave me a price, and she bases her price off the OSD, but the OSD was actually it's a few dollars literally cheaper. So I always go, I don't care if it's $2 cheaper, I'm going to buy off the cheapest price. So I checked, and MHQ actually was selling Fords on the LSD, so was Eric Chevrolet. So I went with that bid because it was low. Lowest, probably the lowest in the country this year, which is really unusual for Massachusetts.
And they put relays and everything in the car?
No, I do.
That's what he does.
Yeah. No, but they were good with sticking to the bid, actually. One of the, like some of the bids, you get nothing but the car. This OSD bid, they have to fill the gas tank up, deliver the car to you, and so on and so forth. Little things like that.
3 keys, right?
Yeah,
Four.
three. I got 4. So yeah, they came through. I got 6 with the Chevy. So they honored the bid, did a good job with it. So yeah, unfortunately, well, not unfortunately. I mean, we all buy the same bids in the state, all the police departments do, but there's no real collaboration in terms of if we buy, if Fitchburg wants, say, 60 sets, I mean, we're not going to give you any great price break.
No.
And believe me, we're always looking for it. We're probably the biggest misers out there, looking for deals all the time, so.
There are for some items like road salt or heating fuel. Sometimes there's cooperative bids like that, but yeah, I have never heard of something to police like
No, I'm just thinking as we're talking to if there was ever anything like that. I don't ever recall. Probably should be, I'm sure all the police departments would jump on it if there was some, cooperative.
Well, it just seems like all the towns seem to just introverted. They don't look outside their town. They just look, everything just has to come from within ourselves rather than, I mean, like the calling now, it debits. That's a, well, I don't know if it's a benefit, but.
You mean the mutual, the
Dispatch.
regional dispatch?
I mean, it saves money, but it's.
Depends on who you ask.
Oh.
But the state contract is like a cooperative. I mean, it's for
It is a
any
cooperative.
municipality can buy off the state contract then.
Yeah, so you got to look at it that way. We're all buying off the same thing together. It's a cooperative bid, and so it's kind of like the same.
So it
concept.
kind of is already.
It is.
Collaborative, okay.
And, we communicate. The police departments, fire departments probably better at communicating, but police departments communicate about all this stuff. I was talking to a chief today about that in Fitchburg. He was complaining to me, Jesus Christ, the car cost me over 50 grand. Yeah, no kidding. That's what they cost.
Yeah,
Quit.
cost you.
Little tablet.
I have one more question. We get Commonwealth Motorsports in town.
Right.
Have they been approached at all for any kind of a,
Well,
not a strong arm, of course, but
yeah. They're not on the state contract. Again, for the four-wheeler, I went to Padula Brothers, they're the only one on the state contract.
okay.
Again, a cooperative bid, and that's kind of where I got to stick. What I will do, and I always do this, I go to the state contract, but then I go around asking, getting prices.
Yep.
Because I want to make sure the state contract's accurate, too.
Yep.
Sometimes, like I said, Greater Boston, always high.
Yeah.
So I don't buy it. But the OSD is usually really good.
Because they're soliciting bids from, across the state, getting the lowest price possible for all the municipalities. So
I do that with everything.
sometimes it's not the lowest.
Right.
You can find a local person that could, become lower than that.
Yeah. So that's where it's worthwhile to, always shop. That's what I do. I shop around everything. Unless it's an emergency like a refrigerator, evidence refrigerator. Emergency.
I know these are not a wish list, but what is your prioritization?
I hate when you
I
ask
know,
me.
but we have to add everything.
Well, obviously, the cars are always,
Okay.
we have no choice, we have to replace those. So I guess I'll rely on you to
For the
decide
rest.
what is.
Okay.
Okay.
That's your number one.
Doesn't he get a number 2?
You can get another, yeah. You want a number 2? Well, that's hard to fix.
Well, I gotta look at items that we haven't been funded for a while, so I'd say that all-terrain vehicle, but I'd say that's a toss-up between that and the boat. They're equally as important, you know what I'm talking about, on a lake on a weekend during the summer.
So this is the first year you're asking for the boat, right?
Right, it's the first year I'm
And
asking.
the 4th and 5th for the four
That's
wheel?
right, that's
Yep.
correct. Yeah.
And the tasers and the bulletproof vests and armed body armor, were those on last year?
Yes, tasers were last year.
They get a 3 more.
Yeah, tasers.
That's what I meant.
Paper machine, yeah. A couple cars, 8 tasers.
That's really what it is.
See that?
That,
No,
no,
that was a year.
so I don't think so.
That was 2000.
Yeah, so that's why I asked for all. Okay, so this is the number I got, and I added them all together.
Oh,
Okay?
They were approved.
Yes,
Yeah,
so that's the boat.
yes, okay. And I asked, ATV because he said that ATV would have more money. That's the same price he's been asking for. So I just bumped it up a tiny bit. For 20,000, he thought it would be more on the line of 20.
Any other questions for the chief?
I will provide you with 5 years, for whatever reason I thought it was on there. We'll probably
But
get
we do have,
10 years.
we have, yeah.
Well,
Well,
you
it's
have
just-
this is
It's
all-
not, it's old, but
Yeah.
it's still an idea.
I made some changes, just to,
It's probably on our Google.
that's why I know
Well,
it was on
there's 2
it.
years missing on the Google.
Oh,
stuff for
okay.
some
Yeah, and
reason.
that's why I'm,
I couldn't find my email on Google Docs right now, but I'm sure it's on the Google Docs.
I don't know why, I don't know why that's not there. I can't figure that out, because we purposely deleted one line. There was FY17 or something on it originally. We deleted that, I don't know. But anyways, I'll get it for you. I think I added, in 2020, I was asking for 1 car, but if we get another, if we get an additional help, we're gonna need an additional car to cover 3 shifts. So, the 2020 unmarked car,
Yeah.
that would have replaced my car. My car's a 2009, so it'd be 11 years old. I mean, I'll be gone. 2020, I think I'll be gone.
Don't say that.
So whoever, somebody's gonna inherit it, huh?
What?
I'll be 65 in 2020.
65 years young.
Yeah, no, I will be. Yeah, that's mandatory.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so 2020, I put on a replace it, it'd be whoever's the chief at that time. You don't want to give them a 11-year-old car that's worn out. I don't care, because I do 3,000 miles a year. So it's got 70,000 miles on it. It's just rot out. That's what happens. It's already starting. It just has a tendency to rust out after a while.
Is there anything else we can do for you, chief?
You got a list? Oh, you got
I'm making a list, yeah.
Fabulous.
You got a list, all right. I guess I'm good. Like I say, I apologize for not having a 5-year document straight. I don't know what went wrong.
It's tricky with that new Google Doc.
Yeah, John. No, I'm kidding. No, it's not that hard now that Amanda and I kind of got a handle on it.
No, it's the second time I've had some feedback on it. Chief Sullivan said it was also tricky using the transfer, using it in Google. It was easier using it in Microsoft Excel. I never ran across that.
Yeah, I mean, Amanda and I put a HDMI cable on the big screen TV in the break room, and we sat out there and played with it. And
Yeah.
and then, worked on it out there because it was easier for both of us.
Easier to see too.
Yeah, and yeah, it's huge.
Yeah.
50-something inch
Yeah.
screen, so,
Good
you know.
idea.
Yeah, so,
I should do that.
yeah. I'm telling you, no, it really helped.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what, I'm still, I'll ask her, maybe we got so involved with trying to clean it up, we forgot to
Right.
put the 2 years in. Because I know what I wanted, I know what I wanted to do, I wanted to add a car, which I think I did on one of in my spreadsheet that's in my computer, and so forth. Oh, and the elevator thing,
Yeah, the elevator. It's on here.
which that's being generous, $200,000.
I was gonna
That'll be a $1
say.
million fix.
It's gonna be, right?
Yeah.
It's gotta be,
No.
yeah.
Yeah, that's gotta be told.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'll walk it.
But you took
Some
off-
people won't. Huh?
Did you take off the file room?
No, that's going to be under
We're doing
facilities.
it under something
That's under
else, right?
facility.
Facilities,
Oh.
as well as carpets,
Yeah.
'Cause I thought we
How
heard
about the
that.
post in the carport?
posts and the carpet.
Okay.
There's a killer post in the carport, it keeps killing crews.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It's real
Really?
big. They put a post in the middle of the carport
Yeah.
a couple of times ago.
So you did that and they didn't put an elevator.
Yeah, and of course, all the water comes off the carport, and what does it do? It creates like this much ice
Yeah.
right where the post is and where the entrance of the carport is. So I would sometimes even going slowly, gotta be careful it doesn't throw the car over the post, you know. But one was over $3,000 worth of damage, you know, because of the way it got hit. It was just a fluke, but
Sounds like you need no architect.
all I need is a bigger beam. They expect the beam wrong, so they cheaped out, put a post in the middle.
Yeah.
You don't do that, you know? Yeah, a bigger beam will do it. I could do that if somebody wanted to give me a hand.
Come down and help you out.
All right?
All right,
Yeah,
anything else,
thank
Chief?
you.
Thanks.
Thanks for rescheduling.
Yeah, thanks. Oh, yeah, no, thanks for doing
Yeah.
this. Was it sooner? No,
We were
last
supposed
year.
to do it last week. But we forgot.
I only live 2 miles away. All right.
Have a great night.
Yeah, see you around, thanks.
They did.
Yeah.
We gotta finish up by 6 because there's a selectmen meeting coming in behind us, so,
It says it's early.
do we have any minutes ready to approve?
Well, just the handwritten ones.
No, that's, she typed them, that's a sentence.
Yeah, if you wanna,
Did you get any from Karen?
Okay, I didn't,
yes, this is from last meeting when she was here. She
Did you
was,
get the one in between though? There was one we were missing.
okay,
From Karen
I
that I
need,
sent.
I need to clarify a couple of things.
Yeah, okay, I'll just format them.
okay,
Because I know I typed one that she didn't send them.
all right. Yeah, these are the ones that Caroline took last
Okay.
time.
Okay, what I was, I need some help with this, because what I thought would happen is I would be able to find the form for this online and type it onto this letterhead.
Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
but I don't need to do that, I just send a typed version to the clerk, and she puts it on the
No,
letterhead?
we can get you the letterhead. Do you have one, Heather, or?
I'm looking for the stuff online, I still don't have a sign on.
We can make one.
I've sent out information to ask for a sign-on so that I can get in, because I'm wondering, I'm sure that the new procedures for how this is done, is out there somewhere.
I don't know,
So
Karen just,
procedure,
she would type them and then she'd go downstairs and do it.
Yeah, the clerk doesn't assemble it for us. We have to send them the finished product.
Yeah.
well, that's what I thought,
Yeah.
but I don't have access to this online.
Yeah, unfortunately, every board is different. No, there's no standard one. So somewhere along the line, somebody made that
Maybe
up.
Karen has it.
Yeah, Karen should
I
be able
will
to
get
forward it.
Karen to
Because
forward
I can
it.
just, like I
I
say, I
will
can
get
just,
Karen to forward it.
I have
Do you have one from
one right
Karen?
here from Karen.
From Karen. Okay.
In Word document form?
Can you send it to me too, and then I'll just do the last one that I did
These,
in between?
And these were
Right, I
sent
remember.
in
Yeah, yeah,
November
I
from
remember.
Karen, here are September 12th and September 19th.
And then there was one that I did in between that Karen never forwarded.
We approved 2 from Karen last time.
Right, because there's
There's
the
another
one,
one?
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so you don't want to approve from this, you want me to type it
Yeah.
up, if I have the form. If you
Yeah.
send me the form, I'll do it right away.
Yeah, because we take the finished one and we sign it and we bring it right down to the
Yes,
clerk.
okay,
Yeah.
got it. All right, so
Nice.
I still haven't been able to verify if I have a sign-on. Do I need to sign on?
Not yet, we're moving to a different posting and minutes
Okay.
method.
Okay, so
When
this
that
will,
happens,
this will
you'll
do it.
get a lot.
This will do it for me.
Yeah,
And then
what-
the agenda, I need to do the agenda too for the next meeting.
No.
Between Damon and I, we've been
We'll
You
doing
guys
that.
do that. Okay, all right. Okay, good. I'm good. I'm
Sorry
good.
about that.
Yeah, I got this, okay.
Did they get an email set up for you yet?
Yes. it
I
should
thought
be.
she was on there.
Where, you found me on there?
Well, I thought I saw your email on when we got the last one, wasn't it on there? From you, Heather?
Yeah, from my personal.
That's her personal email.
Oh,
But
yeah.
you should have received something from our IT director.
Mr.
The
Pellegrino?
IT director said that the town clerk takes care of that now, there's been a change of procedure.
Not for an email address. No.
Don't say sign on, say email.
So Heather will help you get it all straightened out.
They're totally different things.
Okay, well,
Okay,
one
so the
person sent me
email
to the
address-
other one, and so.
Mr.
I'm
Valentrinos will do the email.
And if he doesn't, tell Heather.
Okay.
And we're
And
all
he
aware
will.
that, we're all aware that they need to be within either a month or 3 meetings?
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
Doing our
It
best.
should be the next time, except for kind of mess.
Yeah.
We changed. I know.
Okay.
Yeah,
Uh,
any hint is helpful.
So,
We have another meeting next week, 5 o'clock, right?
yes.
Who's that, fire department?
Yeah. So schools will be coming in at 5 and fire chief at 6 o'clock. Yes.
Yes, next week.
And John, do you want to give us a quick update on something you mentioned?
In fact, it's not really an update as much as an FYI. I've been following the new tax bill that's the Congress is debating right now, and mainly concerned about the effect it might have because of limiting both the Senate and House are limiting the deductibility of local taxes. I did next was to contact Becky Boucher from the assessor's office. I get all 4,000 or so plus property tax bills for residents. And then I'm working through that now. I don't have anything really concrete to say. I just want you to know that for a couple of reasons. First of all, I want to make sure that nobody else is doing the same thing. Why would people get a front purpose? And secondly, let you know what's just happened. There's nothing besides that.
Right. Thanks, John. Any other public comment from the board? Other comment from the public?
Hi, Rhonda Lucio, 181 Reservoir Road. I just wanted to say, I hope the Capital Planning Committee will prioritize public safety items above all other requests for FY19. Our emergency responders need equipment in order to do their job. There should not be any area of town inaccessible to rapid response due to lack of and/or poor condition of equipment. It not only puts residents at risk, but it also results in unnecessary additional risk to those attempting to respond to an emergency. In addition to police vehicles, the police chief is requesting a vote in an ATV. These items are all needed in order to access all areas of town. With 3 lakes and the number of acres of trails and conservation land in town, which continues to increase, the need for both of these items is clear. The ATV is an item I feel has been overlooked. It has been requested for the past 4 years. Within the past 2 years, the town has expressed an interest in relying on ecotourism for economic development. The Conservation Commission has continued to accumulate land. First responders cannot provide emergency response to the trails already owned by the town. How can we simultaneously increase the amount of land and promote its use in the absence of an ATV? There's also state law which prohibits ATV use on conservation land. How can the police prosecute offenders as the state expects without an ATV? This item meets the capital planning criteria of not only being a safety item, but also an unfunded mandate. I understand it is impossible to fund all the things we want, but I think we can all do a better job of prioritizing and identifying actual needs. Public safety equipment and first responders should be our first priority, even if it requires sacrificing other things. Thank you for accepting my comments.
Thank you.
Any other public comment?
All set tonight.
All right, is there a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?